ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ ਗੁਰਮੁਖ ਪਿਆਰਿਓ. Today I'm very excited to share with you something really exciting. Now, this is so exciting even to me as I share this with you, and I'm sure you will find this whole little talk very exciting as well. Right at the start of Guru Granth Sahib, immediately after describing God, and without wasting a moment, Guruji, before going any further, lets out what is a massive secret by rolling the dice without delay and bringing a word called Hukam to our attention. Why? Because it is ultra important. Hukam. In fact, it is so important that instead of arguing with each other as to which Jathabandi or subgroup of Sikhs is better than the other, what we should eat or not eat, how long should a daily prayer be, who is a better Sikh than the other, Hukam is the one thing we should be focusing on. Hukam. What is ultra important to our Guru should be super important to us. And yet the best of our preachers and pracharaks, and even we as Sikhs, just say, yes, Hukam means God will. I follow God's will. But, sadly, our lives, our thoughts, our outlook towards anything and everything hardly mirrors the fact that we are living in the will of God, in Hukam, or that we are even interpreting what is unraveling in our lives and around us as a direct manifestation of God's Hukam, and as a mysterious act of God, the reason for which is baffling and against all the odds of our rational mind. Hukam. Hukam is so important that not only does Guru Nanak Dev Maharaj start telling us about it in the beginning, but 9 Gurus later, Guru Gobind Singh points it out to us apart from everywhere else in his letter to Aurangzeb in Zafarnama. Hence we need to dig very deep to really understand Hukam at a much deeper level than we have ever done. Hukam. 2 things a spiritual person, a religious person, one who is seeking God, who wants to be close to God, who believes in God, a person who turns to God, there are 2 things that they want. Number 1, how can in God's eyes I be a pure soul, a Gurmukh, a blessed soul, someone who lives in truth, in reality? How? And number 2, second thing you want is, how can I get rid of all the fakeness, ego, the badness in me? How can I be beyond all this worldly stuff, so I'm close to God, loved by God, helped by God? Guruji, in the first body of Japji Sahib, lays out these two questions. How can I be blessed in God's eyes? Kiv sachiara hoiye. And the second one, how to get rid of all this ego and fakeness? Kiv kude tutte pal, break. How can this bundle of falsehood be broken? He gives the secret answer. What does he say? हुक्म रजाई चलना नानक लिखिया नाल हुक्म रजाई चलना 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 नानक लिखिया नाल हुक्म रजाई चलना. Follow the command, the will, the wish and the order of God. As you chalana, as you move and journey through your life, chalana, like the river chals, like the river goes, your life, your journey of your life as it flows. Follow the command of God. Everyone says, yes, I follow God's command. But listen, do you really? Do we really? Do our religious leaders, do they really? Really? Do we follow? Why do I say this? It's easy to think that you follow, but actually you are not following. Actually, you might be an Amritari, you might be a Bibeki, you might be an AKJ, you may be whatever, a Namta, you can be anything. You could be from any Jatha Bandi, from any spiritual group, any sub-sect of the Sikhs, and say and think you are following, but maybe you really are not. And I will come to this very important point as we talk now. To understand our personal response to this hukam, first of all, listen, we all say, and it is true, that God is not just everywhere, but that He is the creator of the universe, Karta Purkh, the creator of the universe, creator of you and creator of me. He willed that you should be born, and through your parents you came to this world as a baby. His hukam, His command. Guruji says that God not only created the universe and its expanse, Hukmi hovan akar, Hukmi hovan akar, the whole universe at the macro level, God made it all. But then He says at the micro level, at the level of you personally, He decides our place in the pecking order of society, whether He prefers and arranges for you to become some rich and famous person or an ordinary member of society, and the problems and the blessings that will occur during your life on earth, and so on. We can only guess why God does this and not make everyone equally rich or for everyone to be the same, since our mind does not have the capacity and capability to fully understand why God does what He does. Maybe He prefers us all not to be the same like robots. Maybe because He prefers each of us to have different personalities and lifestyles, so He can express Himself in different ways through us. The differences between us also results from our past lives and what we did then. Gurbani points out one attribute of God in the word pen. Pen. It means different, separate. God does things in a variety of many different ways, like different colors, different shapes, different languages, different races, different sexes, different cultures, different insects, different flowers, different sights and smells, different planets, and so on. Thus, we can see that God is a God of variation. If you and your problems and family members and your blessings in life and ways of thinking are different from others, this is because that's how God likes it to be. This is God's hukam, His will. When you see differences, see God's will in operation. God not just makes this universe, but He also owns it. He owns everything. And everything belongs to Him, even your mobile phone, your computer, your Minecraft game, and your children, your PlayStation. They all belong to God, including every penny you have and every muscle in your body. None of it is yours. God gave it to you according to His will and command, and at the right time. God gave it to you. It's not yours. Pai Nanak wangu tera tera bol, Nanak wangu tera tera bol, O tera tera sab tera tera, Nanak wangu tera tera bol, O pai mera mera nahi आखिदा, mera mera nahi आखिदा, O pai Nanak wangu tera tera bol, pai tera tera bol. This is God's will, that He made and owns everything. Nanak wangu tera tera bol, pai Nanak wangu tera tera bol. What I just said is very important, because we do say with our words, we say what we have is all God's, but we fall short in our actions. We fall short. Deep in our minds, we think and say that money in the bank belongs to me. Deep in our minds. Outwardly, we tell everybody this is all given by God. Deep in our mind, this belongs to me. I shall only give away a tiny amount in the swand or charity as a good Sikh. What we don't do is to pray, Oh Vaheguru, Oh Guru Nanak, Oh Guruji, Oh God, this money is all yours. Tell me, guide me, what to do with it, who to share it with, how much to share, with whom. Tell me, God, because I don't know. Instead, we consider ourselves as our own best financial consultants. But then we say we are blessed Amritaris and Gurmukhs who follow God's will. You see our secret hypocrisy in this? My Guru. When you do good things for others, do you do those good deeds as a result of your own thoughts and mind? Because that can lead you to think, yes, I am a good Sikh. I'm a Gurmukh. I help others. I'm kind. I'm generous. I'm following my religion and being a good person. The danger is in saying, thinking like that, all that is you're emphasizing on I, which like a silent, undetectable virus in your body or computer keeps sucking out your spiritual batteries and inflating your ego. However, if any goodness came out of you through a very active guidance of God, and as your consciousness, mind and soul always take a step back and wait for His command, just before you move, then you are on safe ground. Because now letting God take the lead, letting God be the boss, and letting Him move you the way He wants and use whatever you have the way He wants. The way He wants. He will tell you what to do. He's a kind God. His kindness, He will use you as a puppet, as a vessel, as a panda, and through you, His kindness, not your kindness. God's command, God's kindness. Now, look, in the kitchen, for example, one lady, she just cooks whatever she wants for her family. Based on the first thought that came to her mind, she woke up, she thought of dal, So right away she puts dal on the cooker. Or suddenly she woke up, she thought, today I'm dying for palak paneer. Palak paneer in the cooker. But there's another lady who believes in the hukam of God, who lives in the hukam of God. She has the gyan, the knowledge of hukam. So she cooks after a prayer to God. Guruji, God, please in my mind put those thoughts. Bless me, tell me what would be the best thing to cook for the day. Tell me. So I'm cooking that, oh Lord, according to your command, because you know better than me. So this lady is cultivating humbleness, because now she's coming into a relationship with God. She lets her God tell her she's the gulam of God. Ko Nanak gulam karka. Even Guru Nanak Dev Ji says, I am a slave of God. So we also have to be like our Guru, slaves of God, who looked at our master. We asked our master whatever we do. Guru Nanak himself never just wrote poetry from the top of his mind. He said, जैसी में आवे खसम की बाणी तैसड़ा करी ज्ञान वेला लो जैसी में आवे खसम की बाणी तैसड़ा करी ज्ञान lalo. As God commands me, so do I express this Gurbani and its knowledge. Maharaja Ranjit Singh is known to have done an ardas each time he went to fight a war. You who are listening to this, you may be a Kirtaniya. How do you select your Kirtan Shabads? Do you just wake up, you think of a Shabad, okay, I'll sing this Shabad. I'll think of the Shabad. No. Or do you pray? Do you pray and ask God, Guruji, today I'm doing satsang somewhere. Please bless me. Tell me what Shabad, what Rag, what tune. Please speak through me. So when I go and do Kirtan, it'll be what my Guru wanted me to sing. I remember one Sikh in Bristol in UK, December last year, asked me to go to Gurdwara and sing for his son's birthday. So I did ardas to Guruji, please bless me, tell me what Shabad to sing. And I opened a vak, and it was a very beautiful line in Gurbani. Dastagiri de dilavar तुही एक दस्तगीरी दे दिलावर तुही एक तुही एक दस्तगीरी दे दिलावर. In whole Guru Granth Sahib, the word dilavar comes one time, and that was the one day, the one vak I took. Inside that vak was this word dilavar. And you won't believe, that man who asked me to do kirtan, his name was Dilavar Singh, is Dilavar Singh. He has made a memorial in Bristol to honor the Sikh soldiers who fought in the Second World War for the British. Dilavar Singh, that is his name. And can you imagine? I could have just sung any Shabad out of my head. But no, I did a prayer to God. Tell me what to sing. Right before me came a Shabad, Dastagiri De Dilavar. And Dilavar is the name of that man who had invited me to sing. And the whole Guru Granth Sahib, the word Dilavar comes one time. And I sang the Shabad. And I felt, this is not me today, out of my brain deciding what to sing. My Guru wanted me to sing this to show this man his own magic. And that man was so touched. He said, how did you find this Shabad? I said, I never found this Shabad. This Shabad was something that just came through my prayer that I should sing this for you. And he was so surprised that happened. So, the point I'm making is, you need to slow down. The more you start slowing down a bit, stop listening to your mind. Stop listening to your mind. Slow down. Take a step back. You may be anyone listening to this. You may be a famous pracharak. You may be a famous kirtaniya. You may be someone whom everybody respects as a saint or whatever, or a blessed gurmukh. It doesn't really matter. Always slow down. Start listening to your mind. That is what we have to do. Listen to our mind. What is the mind saying? Listen. Stop listening to this mind. Instead, take a step back. Ask God. Start asking God. The more your life, your thoughts, your words will be from the hukam of God. This is what you want. This is what you want. As you keep on asking God more and more and more, your life, your thoughts, your words, they will be the hukam of God. It will be from God's command, not your command, God's command. In your life, God will be the commander, not your little brain, not your intellect, not your cleverness, but God's spirit inside you and around you. This will help you win your mind. Manjite Jagjit. How will you win your mind? If you let God talk to you, order you, tell you what to do, tell you how to walk, tell you how to do things, what to sing, what to say, and where to say it. The God within you will be in charge of your mind. There will be a clear channel for you to start receiving God's hukam in your life. Similarly, we say, this car is mine. It belongs to me and my family. I bought it. I use it to take my family to the Gurdwara on Sundays. But is that enough? Isn't this car a gift God gave you? Have you prayed to God how you can use your car the way He wants it, not the way you have decided you want it? You may not be using the car for anything wrong, but that is not the point. The point is, how does God want it? Have you actually ever asked God that? How, God, do you want me to use this car? Maybe besides your family, He gave you that car to give a neighbor's son or daughter a lift back from their night shift every night, or to help a handicapped person in your neighborhood, or to take a family who has no car to Gurdwara on Sundays. How will you know if you don't realize this car belongs to God? And you need to be asking Him why and for whom He gave it to you. It's a very important point. You may be a Kirtaniya for that matter, a very famous Pracharak. You may be a very famous Nityanemi. You may be someone who is a Granthi in your Gurdwara. You are a respected member of society, of the Sikh community where you live. You may be the president of a Gurdwara. And you think, oh, this is my car I'm using here to take my family to Gurdwara. But the command of God, the hukam of God, whoever you are, doesn't really matter. Have you asked God deep in your heart? Pray, God, tell me, this car is yours, you gave it to me, you tell me now, apart from my family, what else you want me to do with this car? And yet we say, we are a good Sikh. You say you're a good Sikh who prays and follows the commands of the Guru and do all your prayers. But where in all this was your outlook towards what you consider as your car? Outside, you say it is from God. Inside, you firmly believe it is yours. Baro, oda, andro, tera. Baro, oda, andro, mera. Kithe gal baddi hai. And its only purpose is for you to go to work and give your own family leaves. That's what you think. But God may have another purpose for you. His command, because you didn't ask Him, that chain, that line of communication, contact is broken. You do not know why He gave it to you. So you're just going about thinking, yes, I'm good at car, I'm doing these good things, I'm going to work, taking my family to Gurdwara, but hold on. The command was God, you didn't listen to it. Another example, we also tend to be very focused and orientated towards our own families. Most of us are like that. We say, mera parivar, this is my family. That is not my family. This is my family. If someone says to you, is that your family? No. This is my family. That is not my family. and God says, everybody is my family. We proclaim in Sikhism, every other girl is my daughter or mother, but do we really treat others as our own? Do we actually have shown other people's daughters the love of a father, of a mother, apart from their own parents? Have we seen another woman, lady, and given her the love we give our own mother? No. We say, Guru Gobind Singh Ji says, treat our beti ko beti jane, our treat others daughters as your daughter, and treat others mothers as your own mother. It's just a concept in our mind. But where is the activation of this? Where is the practical reality of this? Have you asked God which relative or neighbor of yours or friend needs to be really made as part of your own family, whereby you are helping to pay for their shopping or their education? God wants you to not just selfishly be focused on your family, because every human being is God's family. If you opened your heart to God, you would realize, who is it that God needs you to be an angel to? Who is it that He would love you to make them feel loved? Likewise, another example, we pay lip service. We pay lip service in saying our body belongs to God. We all say, man tan tera, tan bi tera, man tan tera, tan bi tera, tan bi tera. Man tan, my tan is my body. We sing that. We have listened to Kirtanias singing it. How many people have sang this? How many Kirtanias have sang this? How many satsangis have listened to this? Maybe you have listened to this show, but you could have listened to this 100 times in your life. You could have sang this 50 times in your life. Man tan tera, tan bi tera. Kabir mere much mein kich nahi, sab kich hai so tera. We just can say all that. But do we really mean it? Do we really mean it? Perhaps not. If we did see our body as belonging to God, we will quickly realize that this means God gave it to us not just to function at a physical level on earth, but also as a temple or Gurdwara, which has the Spirit of God and the presence of God within it. God is within this body. That is His command, that He has put His Spirit in the body. In which case, we would want to keep it steady, fit, strong to serve its purpose. We have a house. We always pay so much of money to keep the house, the walls strong, the roof strong. Little bit leak, we pay so much of money to get the leak repaired. Human body. This is the temple of God. We go to Gurdwara. We even donate gold. We proud that so and so donates so much of gold in this Gurdwara, to this Gurdwara. But what about the human Gurdwara? Your body is a Gurdwara. The command of God is, your body is a temple. Man mandir tan ves kalandar. Man mandir. This whole body is a mandir of God. Are we flooding this mandir, this temple, with the things that will make it sick and destroy it? More carbohydrates than we need, more fats than we need. Not watching what we eat, so that ending up with strokes, high cholesterol, high blood pressure, heart attacks, diabetes, so many problems. Do we watch what we eat? Do we even exercise to keep the frame of this human body fit and strong so we can pray and meditate through it? Do we do that? No, exercise is something optional, isn't it? We think of it as something optional. We're not thinking that, hold on, through my diet, through my exercise, I'll keep this mandir, this temple given to me by God strong. Do we bother doing regular cardio and strength and resistance training workouts? Are you a member of a gym? Have you ever thought of going for cycle riding, swimming, running? It's God's will. This is God's commander. His Hukam, that He gave us a functioning human body to do good in the world and to worship Him. But we frustrate His will, His Hukam, by not being responsible in maintaining the health of this body through diet and exercise. And then we say we are good Sikhs, we preach and follow His Hukam and divine will. There's hypocrisy in this. Taking this further now, why are so many of us as Sikhs not the happiest and most joyful looking and joy-filled people of this world? If indeed we saw everything that was happening to us as God's will, as God's command, God's Hukam, we would be patient, accepting, relaxed. In Sukhmani Sahib, it says, to be a blessed person, Start to love what God does to you in your life and around you. Prabhu ki agya atam hitave. Prabhu ki agya atam hitave. Hitave means love his agya, love his hukam. And he says, Prabhu ki agya jane jugat. You know, this means what God desires and commands, recognize that whatever God desires and commands, recognize that as the right way and path. Imagine a state where moment by moment as things, events, people, problems, happinesses come and go in your life, you recognize God very actively in your life, causing all this to happen. And instead of focusing on them, you start looking at the hand of God, moving everything around you and constantly giving and taking, and the drama that is unfolding in your life to please Himself. Imagine that as you start seeing your Master's designs and plans unravel in your life, it is making you excited, joyful, and in love with His command. You will sing as Gurbani says, ज्यों ज्यों तेरा हुक्म तिवै तिव होवना ज्यों ज्यों तेरा हुक्म तिवै तिव होवना. As is your will, O God, so it happens. Simply believing and declaring through your prayers and chants and all your chatting with everyone that all is God's will and everything happens because of God's will is the polar opposite of letting this realization sink into your mind till it grips hold of you and possesses you. A Sikh does not just live in the presence of God, imagining or believing God is always with him or her. A Sikh actually moves and operates and lives under the command of God. You see the point? A Sikh actually operates and lives under the command of God. This is such a beautiful thing. A Sikh actually moves and operates and lives under the command of God. He is conditioning his mind such that even when he holds a dollar, a rupee, a pound of money or a flower or a vegetable or a tomato or an onion in his hands or his mobile, the first thought is, this belongs to God. I praise my God for making and owning this, oh Vaheguru. So you're not saying belongs to me. No, you're saying this belongs to God. This mobile phone belongs to God. This tomato belongs to God. This flower belongs to God. I praise my God for making this flower and owning this flower. Oh, I grew. When he sees something that looks bad happen, which he cannot understand, his thought is, God owns everything and has allowed this to happen, and I can only praise him for the hidden good that will come out of this. For example, very loud thunder and lightning are very frightening and can kill. Thunder and lightning are very frightening and can kill. However, lightning strikes help dissolve this unusable nitrogen in water, which then creates a natural fertilizer that plants can absorb through their roots. Lightning also produces ozone, a vital gas in our atmosphere that helps shield the planet from rays of harmful ultraviolet light. So when God does things, we can look at one thing and look at it as bad or not very good, but then when God does, he does multi-purpose. On the other hand, that same thing, actually there's something good going to come out of that, which is going to be a great blessing. People tend to look at their lives and think, oh, I'm suffering, my income is very small, I'm struggling to support myself and my family, I'm not as educated, I have no car, I'm just renting, I don't own a house, I have a low paid job, I'm ugly, etc., etc. So like that, you start looking at yourself and your problems and start blaming yourself and others for your situation. People also secretly can be unhappy because they feel for all their prayers and meditation, they are not so chardikala as some other Sikhs and don't feel as blessed. All this comes, from where? From starting to look at yourself rather than seeing the power of God. God in His power can do anything in a split second. He can make you a saint in a split second. Gurbani says, in a second can God can make a king a beggar and a beggar a king. From nowhere can God create such a problem that the most healthy person can suddenly have a heart attack. And yet, as Hukam Sahib says, Je paave bin saas te rakhe. Meaning, God can keep a dying person alive without his breath, and I have personally witnessed this in my life. I'll come to that later. Such is this command and will of God. So powerful is our God who owns everything. So let us always look towards our God, not ourselves. Each and everything He has given us. Let us ask Him to guide us how to look after it and what to do with it, and renounce your personal ownership of it. That way, no matter what happens, you will never be looking at yourself and feeling helpless and poor, but will be praising your Master who owns you, singing Vaheguru, 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 Vaheguru. Look towards God. Whatever you want, it all belongs to God and is owned by God. It is His Hukam. The more God sees you praising Him and looking at Him and never complaining or crying or feeling miserable and poor, the more you will be blessed by God. If He doesn't give you as much as others, don't cry. It is for a good reason. All you need to do is to praise Him and thank Him for what you have, and tell Him it belongs to Him, and keep trusting in Him. If He needs to give you more, He will. If He needs to take away some, thank Him for as long as it lasted. He took it away for a good reason. Through all this, you will start to engage with God in a more realistic way. Just saying to God through 1,000 Gurbani Toksa that everything He sees is one thing, but letting this wisdom pierce through your mind, it is a part of you. It is a part of you is a different thing. Letting this wisdom pierce through your mind, that's a different thing. Now let me escalate all this to another super exciting level. Because in Gurbani, like Hukam for example, there are many levels at which you can understand Hukam. Okay? So I'm going to take you to another level now. So far, and this actually gets very exciting here now. So far in my explanation, I have talked about us and God. God as the giver of commands, and we as the receivers of His command, His will, His Hukam. However, here comes the most mind-blowing bit. What if God and us are not two separate entities, but have become partners? Now the game changes. What if God and us are not two separate entities, He up there, me down here, but now we have become close partners? A situation where He is not distant to us, just issuing commands, but has taken us as His beloveds. This secret is hidden in Gurbani. A lover does not issue commands to his beloved. He acts in unison, in partnership with his beloved. He even consults his beloved over things. His beloved, through love, can even persuade him to change his mind about something. His beloved can even question his command. In Gurbani, Guru Nanak, when he witnessed the Mughal emperor and his army bullying and looting and murdering, addressed and questioned God. Why? Because God and Guru Nanak were one. And he said, "Thank you, dard na aaya. Oh, thank you, dard na aaya." He said, "Oh God, look at all this looting and all these bad things happening around, oh God. Does it not pain you? He's questioning God. Oh God, doesn't this pain you to see this destruction? This shows that Guru Nanak was not just God's slave at the receiving end of God's command, but he's also God's beloved. A beloved who can talk to his beloved, question his beloved. Hence, if you focus on becoming a person loved by God very deeply, your fear of God's command will transform into love for God's command. When you are very close to God, He will help you immediately recognize it as His command. He might even warn you ahead of His command. He might warn you ahead. Once I prayed to God that if it's His command, may He please extend the life of a certain Sikh man in UK, in the city I live, Bristol, who had terminal cancer and liver and brain cancer, terminal. That was when doctors had literally told the family, this man is about to die any moment. Please, everybody come to hospital. He was already in a coma. He was hardly breathing. I got there. I did an ardas for this man. With whoever was around there, I went on the floor. I cried. I went on my knees. God, if it is your will, please listen to us. We love you. Please show some pity and some mercy. Give this man little bit more life. After that ardas, that man lived for 6 more months. After 6 months, after a satsang at his house, I took a walk. Through that walk and its interpretation, we knew that God was saying that this man is now going to die. And you know what? Within 48 hours, this man had died. So God already told us, He warned us. When you're the beloveds of God, He will tell you ahead. Yes, God's command is ironclad. But there's a paradox as well, whereby God comes to His beloveds and works together with them. Beloveds of God, don't wait for something to happen and then sit down and figure out on their own through clever intellectual thinking that it is God's command. On the contrary, they see their God's will manifesting in and around them. They are in partnership with God concerning His command. They are even foretold of His command. The good news is, I tell you what, you can be such a person, whoever you are listening to this, whoever you are. This is not just reserved for saints. Anyone can be such a person. This is a gift that God gives to those who love Him. You have to love Him as your beloved. Draw that close to Him. This gift is yours for the taking if you truly are a Gurmukh. And for that to happen, you need to fall in love with God. This is the point. You need to fall in love with God. And then God will become your beloved. A beloved who sneaks up to you and whispers into your ears. He whispers into your ears what he intends to do next. A beloved who will even alter or delete his command because you asked. Of course, that does not mean you will become full of ego and tell yourself that now you are the one who orders God about. In fact, as His beloved, you love what He does. You are in love with His actions. Gurbani says, Meet kare soi ham mana, meet ke karatab kusal samana. Meet kare soi ham mana, meet ke kartab kusal samana. It means whatever God, my true friend, does, I agree to it and accept it. God, my friend's wondrous actions are at a level of extreme joy and extreme pleasure to my mind. However, out of compassion and pity towards someone, a beloved of God may request God to alter His will for that person, and God does bow to such a request sometimes of a beloved. I know of a woman in Malaysia who had not had a child for 8 years after marriage. The gynecologist had basically told her that she cannot conceive a child. When her mother-in-law approached me, when our ashram jatha was doing a satsang at the house in PJ, I humbly prayed to God to bless this lady, and within a couple of months, she got pregnant. And that child is a fine young grown-up woman now. This true story does not mean I am a saint or that I have any special power. It is mentioned to help you have faith that you can truly love God in your heart, not just as someone to worship and respect, but as the closest and truest of your friends, and make God your beloved. Your eyes will be opened to recognize God's hukam, and God will work very closely with you in executing His commands, and will in your life, your community, your country, and in this planet and the whole universe. He'll work with you in executing His commands in all these situations. He will show you how He uses and has used His command to create everything, and how He uses it to operate everything. You will see a flower and see God's command in it. You will see a bird flying and recognize God's command in it. You will see a tiger eating a deer and see God's command in action. You will see a tiny butterfly and see God's command for it. You will see everyone you know in your life and start recognizing God's command for them in their individual lives. Oh beloved, see your life as a manifestation of God's command, manifesting and acting in you every moment, in everything. As Guru Nanak Dev Ji says, walk the journey of your life according to the will and command of God, your master and beloved. Hukam re jai chalna, Nanak likhiya naal. Walk the journey of your life according to the will and command of God, your master and beloved. Vaheguru Ji ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji ki Fateh, Vaheguru Ji ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji ki Fateh.